The episode begins with Tomoya Aki, an otaku who notices a beautiful girl on the road. He decides to cast the unknown girl as the main heroine of his dating sim yet to be created. In the next scene, it is revealed that he's a hardcore otaku and is doing multiple part-time jobs currently. The scene then shifts to Toyogasaki Private Academy, where we see a beautiful girl named Ariri Spencer Sawamura. It is the first day of school, and it is revealed that she's quite popular at school. Later, Tomoya meets his classmate Yoshihiko, who asks him what he's working on currently. It is revealed that Tomoya is a big-time blogger who reviews anime, light novels, and games. Yoshihiko's attention diverted to Sawamura, who's a half-Japanese, wealthy daughter of an English diplomat. Moreover, she's the ace of the art club, but Tomoya doesn't show any interest. He's only interested in 2D girls, but Yoshihiko believes Sawamura is more of a heroine with all the qualities of a 2D character. Later, he leaves for the opening ceremony, but Tomoya doesn't join him. Instead, he secretly meets up with Sawamura and shows her a project proposal. The project is about the ultimate dating sim, and he wants her to be the illustrator of the game. He informs her about his encounter with a beautiful girl last week, which inspired him. Moreover, it is revealed that she's a member of the popular 18-plus doujinshi circle, and only he knows about it. She gets annoyed and begins to hit him. However, he requests her to assist him in his work. However, she believes he's not serious and tears down the project proposal. Tomoya begs her to listen to him one more time and requests her to meet him in the AV room after school, but she leaves. She's romantically interested in him, but he has no idea about it. During the opening ceremony, Yoshiko points out Yutaha Kasumigoka, the smartest girl in school. She's always nodding off in class, and despite that, she's been the topper for the last 2 years. He believes she's one of the top 2 beauties of the school along with Sawamura. In the next scene, Tomoya meets Yutaha and brings her lunch. He shows her the project proposal and requests her to tag along with him. However, she tears down the proposal and calls it rubbish with misguided passion. Above all, because of her busy schedule, she tells him that she can't join him, but Tomoya gets serious. He reminds her that once she told him that he has the potential to become a game creator. It is revealed that Yutaha is the super popular high school author of Metronome and Love, which has sold over 500 copies. He begs her to listen to him one more time and informs her that he'll be waiting in the AV room after school. It is shown that Yutaha is also romantically interested in him. In the next scene, Tomoya prepares a new project proposal and leaves to reach the AV room. However, a girl interrupts him and he realizes that she's the same girl whom he encountered last week. On the other hand, Sawamura meets Yutaha in the AV room and an argument initiates between them. They hate each other, and the scene then shifts to Tomoya, who confronts Megumi Kato. In a coffee shop, Kato informs him that they've been classmates since his first year. Tomoya gets a bit surprised and tells her that she's cute. He believes she has all the classic features of being the heroine of his dating sim. Kato informs him that he's one of the top 3 celebrities in their school, which surprises him. It is revealed that Tomoya has light novels added to the school library and holds anime film screenings at the school festival. On the other hand, Kato believes she has a boring personality. She doesn't have good grades and isn't a part of any clubs at school. Therefore, she believes it's quite natural that Tomoya didn't notice him before. Tomoya gets pumped up and advises her to not underestimate a boring character. He believes despite being cute, she possesses a lack of individuality, which surprises her. She asks him why he's so much concerned with her personality. Tomoya informs her that she's the girl who is supposed to become his main heroine, which confuses her. Kato asks him if he's in a relationship with Sawamura or Yutaha, to which he replies negatively. However, much to his surprise, he finds them staring at him from outside the window. Later, Tomoya introduces Kato to his illustrator Sawamura and scenario writer Yutaha. However, Yutaha and Sawamura get frustrated because of Tomoya standing them up. He introduces them to the newest member and heroine of his game creation club, Kato, which shocks them. Afterward, his new project proposal again gets rejected by Yutaha and Sawamura. They advised him to let go of his idea, but Tomoya states he'll rewrite it as many times as it takes to get their stamp of approval. The next day, he meets Kato at the same spot where he saw her for the first time. It is revealed that he invited her to his home, and surprisingly, she agreed. Tomoya wishes to drum the conventions of mo content into her head. Later, they visit his home, and Kato gets surprised by the cleanliness of his room. Tomoya grabs a legendary dating sim and instructs her on how to play it. However, she doesn't have a clue about it, and he decides to give her an overview. In the next scene, she finishes the dating sim and gets surprised by the ending. She tells him that she liked it and it piqued her interest. However, Tomoya informs her that the ultimate intention of a dating sim is to hook the players. As she prepares to leave, he informs her that the dating sim she watched has a sequel. He advises her to stay the night and finish the game, which makes her a bit embarrassed. However, she agrees and Tomoe gets surprised. The golden week of school has started and Tomoe has only a few days to submit his final project proposal to Yutaha and Sawamura. He invites Kato to help him during the holidays, but she declines the offer. She informs him that she's in Hokkaido on a family trip and will return at the end of the golden week. Later, Tomoe tries reading different manga to generate ideas but falls asleep. He wakes up and notices Sawamura in his room. Much to his surprise, she tells him no one answered the doorbell, that's why she entered the house by herself. Afterwards, she tells him that she came here to work on her drafts, which surprises him. Some of her dad's guests arrive, which is why she came over to Tomoe's house. Tomoe notices that there's a complete disconnect between her posh home life and her current self. Later, she asks him about his progress, to which he replies negatively. He informs her he still has 3 days, but Sawamura advises him to give up. Tomoe realizes that she came here to motivate him, but she denies it and suddenly the doorbell rings. It is revealed that Yutaha has come to visit him and Sawamura hides. She brings him tea and asks him about his progress. Tomoe bluntly tells her the truth and she also advises him to quit. She informs him that the life of a creator is quite tough. The deadlines are murder, the competition is rough, and there's no telling when the talent will dry up. Therefore, she believes he shouldn't indulge himself with such a heavy burden. However, Tomoe tells her that he has made up his mind and will not give up on his dream. Yutaha tells him she won't extend his deadline and prepares to leave. She advises him to motivate all the members of his club to give their all. She informs him that she also knows that Sawamura is hiding somewhere because she saw her bicycle outside and leaves. In the next scene, Tomoe calls Kato and tells her to not worry about the project. Upon her request, he advises her to become more overbearing and dominant. The next day, Tomoe wastes another day and fails to prepare anything. On the last day, Tomoe gets demotivated and decides to give up, but he meets Kato. She informs him that she came back 3 days ago and requested Yutaha and Sawamura to help her. Consequently, Sawamura redesigned her dress and Yutaha improved her actions. Kato tells him she's excited and wants to help him fulfill his dream. Tomoe gets motivated and decides to give his all to prepare the perfect project proposal. Sawamura and Yutaha from afar watch him taking Kato to his house. Yutaha's manager tells her that she has arranged an interview tomorrow, which surprises her. Later, Kato tells Tomoe that she enjoyed all the light novels which she gave to her. However, she's quite surprised that they were written by Yutaha as she has a gloomy personality in school. Tomoe informs her is the dichotomy that establishes her character and advises Kato to learn from her. Kato notices that Tomoe holds Yutaha in high regard and respects her a lot. Later, it is revealed that Tomoe was hired by Yutaha's assistant to conduct her interview. Yutaha shows reluctance at first but later agrees to give an interview. Tomoe asks her about her new book, which is going to be unveiled soon, and asks her a bunch of questions, but she falls asleep. Much to his surprise, Yutaha tells him that her last series sold well because of him. It is revealed that there was a clear jump in sales of the series after it got featured in his blog. Tomoe decides to wrap up the interview and asks her what she's hoping to accomplish in her next series. She tells him that she'll give her best in her upcoming projects and looks forward to continued support from her readers. Moreover, she reveals to him that she has accepted his project proposal and Tomoe gets delighted. In the next scene, Sawamura arrives late at the meeting and an argument initiates between her and Yutaha. Nevertheless, Tomoe shows them his plan to release the game, but they disagree with him. His plan isn't feasible to their busy schedules, therefore he tells them to currently focus on the plot and characters only. Yutaha points the responsibility to raise funds to Tomoe for making the game, which shocks him. Yutaha suggests he borrow money from her, but Sawamura interrupts her. Tomoe decides he'll arrange the money by himself and tells them to focus on their work only. Later, we see Tomoe working multiple part-time jobs to raise enough funds. One day, Kato visits a restaurant with a boy, which surprises Tomoe. The next day, it is revealed that he was her cousin Keiichi and are only friends. Tomoe tells her it's not her job as a heroine to mess with another man. He begs her to stop seeing her cousin and stay as a heroine until the game is finished. She agrees and cancels her weekend plans with Keiichi. Sawamura asks Kato to do different facial expressions for manga illustrations, but she fails. Kato is unable to show any expressions and goes away to practice. Later, Sawamura suggests that Tomoe meet at his house this weekend to finish the work. Much to her surprise, he informs her that he agreed to go to a mall with Kato this weekend. He asks her to give him some advice and she tells him to fake his behavior. Sawamura believes that everyone has a secret side to them and advises Tomoe to act fake. However, he tells her that he wishes to be his usual self in front of her. Above all, Kato being a non-otaku stayed exactly as she was when she was mixed with us otakus. Consequently, Tomoe feels like he shouldn't settle for a tie and a forced smile with her. Sawamura gets frustrated as she believes he's going on a real date with Kato. He used her as a trial run and deceived her, but he denies it. He tells her he's only going to the opening sale at Rokutemba Mall with Kato. On the other hand, Yutaha gets weird and begins acting hysterically. Sawamura believes it's Yutaha's dark side that comes out during the creative process. The next day, Yutaha informs them that she pulled an all-nighter and came up with the plot. The plot is 5 times bigger than the proposal Tomoya wrote. Yutaha orders them to give it a read for any improvements and decides to sleep for a while. Tomoya smiles while observing Yutaha, which annoys Sawamura. However, he begins reading the plot. The plot involves a young boy named Seiji Azumi, who transfers to a new school atop a hill with falling cherry blossom petals. It's a fateful encounter with a certain girl, and the next day they meet again in the class into which he's been transferred. The girl's name is Meguri Kano, and little by little the distance between Seiji and Meguri's hearts draws closer. They finally confirm their feelings for each other and are bonded. However, Meguri's behavior begins to change slowly, and one day, she calls him Big Brother. At last, she begins to recall herself from a past age, her immoral love, and her family tragedy. Every time she starts to regain her memories, inexplicable events begin to take place around the two of them. Finally, an enemy appears before them whose light goes back through centuries of history. To protect each other, the two lovers assume the roles of older brother and younger sister. After the final battle, the victorious two at last sever the chains of past tragedy, and the sibling lovers finally face their entwined future. Yutaha wakes up and everyone praises the story. Yutaha decides to make this the final draft, but Tomoya interrupts. He suggests that she should spice up the conclusion with something else. Sawamura gets frustrated and defends Yutaha's plot by bashing Tomoya. However, he tells her he's not satisfied with the ending, and Yutaha decides to give it another go. Later, Kato decides to postpone her date with Tomoya, but he declines and decides to go. The next day, they visit the mall, and Tomoya gets annoyed by the bad formation of lines. He informs her that during Comic Market, more than 500 people gather and no one breaks the line formation. Tomoya forms a plan to visit all the stores Kato wants. Afterward, he manages to help her get everything she wants from every store. At the last store, Kato gives him a pair of glasses for coming with him. He thanks her but tells her he won't be able to take her home as he needs to visit somewhere else important. Tomoya calls Yutaha, but she intentionally doesn't answer his phone. The scene then shifts to a flashback in which we see Yutaha and Tomoya, and he praises her art of writing. He asks Yutaha about her upcoming book, and she tells him to give her suggestions. It seems quite clear that she's in love with him. At the present, Yutaha's assistant advises her to reach out to Tomoya, but she declines. Suddenly, it begins to ring and she recalls a flashback with Tomoya. Once, she tried to show him the plot of her final book before releasing it, which annoyed him. She wanted to know how he felt about the book. However, Tomoya got furious. He told her that he didn't want an ending that turned out exactly as he hoped. Consequently, he declined to read her manuscript, which broke her heart. In the present, Tomoya deliberately misses the last train and goes to her hotel where he meets her. He takes a bath and her assistant leaves her all alone with him in a twin room. After taking a bath, she meets Tomoya and both are dressed in a robe. He gets embarrassed and decides to leave, but she stops him. She believes he came after her to the hotel and begins seducing him. Suddenly, Tomoya requests her to make him a man tonight, which shocks her. However, instead, he begs her to mold him into a creator, which annoys her. Afterward, he informs her that he had a good time with Kato at the mall. In the end, he left her, but she still saw him off with a smile. Tomoya believes that tying the heroine with memories before she was born and saving her past self isn't the future Meguri was hoping for. Yutaha gets furious and asks him what's wrong about being caught up in the past. Tomoya believes it's choice, and he wants the players of the game to enjoy their normal lives with Meguri. While changing the plot, Yutaha gets dark and begins typing hysterically. The next day, she leaves the hotel and thanks Tomoya for bringing out her true determination. However, she sends him a photo of them lying in the bed naked. Will Tomoya be able to create the dating sim with his club? Who will he end up with? Find out in the next episode, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.